Hello gamers and welcome back. I'm Rob, of course, or Warshack if you want to call me by my in-game name. And today we're going to be going over the top 5 best legendaries, in my opinion, that have come from the mean streets of Gadgetzan. As we know, the meta has been shaken up quite a bit. Mid-range Shaman is no longer on top, and we've seen quite a bit of all the classes except Paladin and Hunter on ladder. So with that said, since the release of Gadgetzan, a little background, we've played hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games. I didn't want to make this video 2 days after the release of the expansion and just name whatever the most hyped card was and say that was the best, because that's not an accurate description of what's actually going on with these cards. I wanted to wait till I could hit Legend, test these cards for you guys, try them out in the decks, and actually figure out which are the best, which are the worst, and which one, soon after this video, you should craft and disenchant. So with that said, this is my top 5 list. Everybody's going to be different, but you can better believe with this being the top 5, these are going to be the top 5 legendaries. First, in my opinion, that are most powerful, but also you're going to see a lot on ladder. These are legendaries that that fit very well in their respective deck, and there's actually decks being built around them now. So with that said, let's head into Hearthstone. We're going to make this video a little bit different than we normally do. We've got the cool little the side thing here, and we're going to pull up the legendaries one at a time. We're going to talk about them, we're going to discuss them, and we're going to take a deeper look at where they stand currently, and if the deck will probably still be around in a little bit, where the card will be used over the course of, you know, the next couple months or even longer. So the first card is going to be the Forgotten King. This guy is a 10-drop 7/7, choose one, gain 10 armor or refresh your mana crystals. So originally, Arcane Giant was the thing before this guy, right? And Arcane Giant, it costs 1 less for every spell you've played this game. So people basically, when they play Arcane Giant, they're playing it for a relatively cheap cost. It's a giant 8/8 creature, and they're playing it for roughly 3 mana or less most of the time. So when people saw this, they're like, okay, well, the person basically just played a free 7/7 that costs no mana, because you would you choose the option refresh your mana crystals, but people didn't take into account, in which as a new deck has sprung up, this OTK Cthulhu or OTK Malygos Druid deck. So Anivia, a card that hasn't been seen in forever. She's never really been in a super competitive and viable Druid deck, has now seen play, because you drop Anivia, and Anivia says all of your creatures cost 1 mana. This guy says you get all of your mana back. And the problem with Anivia was that she costs 9 mana, right? So she took up most of your turn to play, which means she had to at least live a turn, unless you have innervates to follow up with her, which is, again, holding back on your ramp early game to play huge ramp in the late game, which sometimes you just die before that happens, right? So now you have the option to play Anivia, drop this guy, refresh your mana crystals, and either fill up your board full of very powerful minions that only now cost 1 mana. So you can play Alexstrasza, Malygos, and a bunch of spells from hand. You know, you could combo Auctioneer with a bunch of stuff and draw to make sure you have those combos available to you. Or you could just play a whole bunch of, you play like Brand, a couple Cthulhu buffers, play Cthulhu, and then Brewmaster Cthulhu back to your hand and play Cthulhu again. Or Brand just makes Cthulhu trigger twice, if that's enough to kill your opponent right there, with like a 40 damage burst combo. So this guy was expected to be like an Arcane Giant. Just play a free drop 7/7. Refreshing your mana crystals basically allows you to fill your turn with other things like giant creatures. But no one really took into consideration Anivia with Malygos and Cthulhu to be able to OTK, not just play a whole bunch of big cards in one turn and win the following turn, but actually just win outright that turn, because you've gained all of this mana and you have Anivia already down. So this is going to be, this guy basically allowed the new OTK Druid to thrive. I think it's even more powerful than the normal Malygos Druid, because you're not just bound to playing Malygos and then Living Roots and Moonfire. You've got other things you can do now, like Alexstrasza. You can go with the Cthulhu play, you could go for the normal Malygos play, and you can even cycle all during this one turn. It's like one huge, it's like a miracle rogue. It's basically a miracle druid all wrapped up into a nice little Forgotten King Anivia little package you got there. So very interesting deck, very powerful. Will it stick around? I'm not sure. The deck, in my opinion, is very hard to pilot, and it's very, very slow at the beginning of the game. Like, the deck needs to draw specific cards like Nourish, Innervate, Wild Growth. It has to draw into its Wrath and Swipe to be able to kind of slow down your opponent's board. It's a good deck, but how well it does against the faster paced decks like Pirate Shaman and Pirate Rogue, not too sure yet, because it only only has been around a couple weeks now. The meta still is shifting, but currently very powerful card, and I expect interesting things to happen with it in the future. All right, so we're going to minimize this screen here, and then we're going to move on. So don't get me wrong, a lot of these new legendaries are cool, but I do not consider them the kind of the most popular or the best legendaries from the set. And you could be taking a look at me and going, Rob, you're absolutely crazy. Wide Eyes is not a good card. Wide Eyes is a good card, and he makes Reno Shaman or N'Zoth Shaman or any form of control shaman a very, very viable deck. If this guy didn't have Taunt and Death Rattle, he wouldn't be as good. But the fact that he's a 5-drop, 5/5, Death Rattle, which means N'Zoth can bring him back, and he has Taunt, which Shaman already has Thing from Below, which is nice, and Feral Spirits, which allows the deck to deal with the early game spike a lot of these decks are having, like Pirate Warrior and Pirate Shaman. And the reason I keep bringing up Pirate Warrior and Pirate Shaman is because these are decks that are very popular right now on ladder, and they'll kill you prior to turn 5. So being able to throw out taunts is very important. Also, putting a 5-drop 10/10 in your deck, which is what the Storm Guardian is. We actually didn't get in that. Shuffle. This guy is Death Rattle. Shuffle a Storm Guardian into your deck, and the Storm Guardian is a 5-drop 10/10 with Taunt, which is crazy stats, right? Like right now, the Shamans are cutting Hex from their deck because the games are ending prior to even needing a card to Hex, like a Ancient of War or a Ragnaros. The game just solely ends before that point in time. So if you end up drawing this in your control Shaman matchup, it's basically just GG, and then comboing this with N'Zoth to bring it back or anything like that is just absurd. So this card isn't seen a ton right now, but I think later on when more people start experimenting and can like control Shaman enters their mind, this guy is going to see a lot of play, very powerful, and we actually might see some more silence back in the meta to deal with cards like this. Sylvanas, the new Black Paw card, which we'll get into shortly. So I don't think this is the most popular at the moment, but I think it, in my opinion, has the ability to become one of the more known cards in the set, other than all of the pirates and things that we see now, which we haven't hit all of them in. And like I said, these aren't in any particular order. These are just, again, top 5 in my opinion. All right, the next one's going to be Patches of Houlihan. So this guy, if you haven't already seen him, then you still like your life. And if you've seen him, you've been smashed by him on turn 1 oh so many times. He's the 1-drop 1/1 charge. After you play a pirate, summon this minion from your deck, which basically means your opponent's going to play a turn 1 pirate or a turn 2 pirate. A huge I don't want to say cannonball. I can't even think of the name. This is bad. Anyway, he comes flying out of your opponent's deck. This is going to bother me like crazy for the remainder of the video. Cannonball is a cannon fire. You're killing me. A cannon. I'm retarded. A cannon comes up from your opponent's deck, shoots a cannonball, and I'm pretty sure this guy comes out of it. And he has charge. So thins your opponent's deck. They gain tempo unnecessarily because they don't actually have to do anything to have this guy come out. You're able to make trades that you'd never be able to make because you get to generate a free 1/1 with charge by just playing a pirate deck, which is already a good deck. So I'm sure that you guys have seen the rants on this card and have been dominated by it, but this is definitely the most popular card that has come out of the set, and definitely very, very powerful card. And this guy fits in any pirate deck you're willing to play. So if you're wondering what's a great neutral card that'll fit into a sizable amount of decks, this is a good starting place to look at this guy. And all of the aggro decks, if you notice, most of the aggressive type decks are very cheap to build, and they're not the hardest in the world to play, and they perform fairly well. So again, fits well into Pirate Rogue, fits well into Pirate Shaman, Pirate Warrior. But again, they fit in specific kind of decks, which are more aggressive based decks. So if those aren't your decks, we'll move on to the Jade Golem in a bit. But this definitely gave pirates what they needed to succeed, along with the small time Buccaneer. And with just a couple of the new pirates, all of a sudden, I want to say over 30 or 40% of your games on ladder will be against some form of a pirate deck. And this guy made it viable. So I don't think I need to explain this guy too much, as most of you already have quite a few frustrations about him. And the next one's gonna be Aya Blackpaw. This girl is absolutely insane in any sort of Jade Golem deck. So use the 6-drop 5/3 Battle Cry and Death Rattle, triggering twice, summon a Jade Golem. So when she comes out, she summons a Jade Golem, and then when she dies, she's gonna summon a Jade Golem. So you can play her in any form of N'Zoth Jade Golem deck if you're looking to push one of those. But just playing her in a normal Jade Golem deck, whether you're playing Jade Golem Shaman, Jade Golem Druid, or whatever type of, or Jade Golem Rogue, it doesn't matter. She's fit. She is the key, I would say, the key legendary in any Jade Golem deck, just like COS A Kiss, which we haven't gotten to yet, is a key in any sort of Reno deck you're gonna play. The stats are basically not what you're worried about. The stats on her are fantastic for what she does, and that is, again, summoning 2 Jade Golems. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Jade Golem ability, I recommend you watching any one of our Jade Golem videos and kind of seeing the deck and how it runs and what to expect from it. But just keep in mind, over the course of the game, the Jade Golems get more and more powerful, and the faster you can bring these guys out and the more of them you can kind of get going, the quicker you're going to be able to end that game and be able to outvalue your opponent. So again, this is going to be a card we're going to see for a long time. As long as Jade Golem decks are a viable thing and they're decent, you will see this girl. And it's a good legendary. She's a neutral, so she's able to fit into any kind of Jade Golem deck you're looking to build. And again, just kind of one of those cornerstone cards that you're really looking for. Alrighty, the next one's gonna be COS A Kiss, and I believe this is our last one. If not, we'll shuffle through the list one more time, but I'm pretty sure we just hit 5 there if I can count. So he's the 4-drop 3/3 Battle Cry. If your deck has no duplicates, create a custom spell. So if I'm not as lazy as what I think I am, I might pull up a little spell list, probably. Oops, wrong side. I'll pull it up over here to kind of show you what you can expect from this guy. But you basically build your own potion, and you do this. And if you already so if your deck contains no duplicates, which means you play 1 of every card in your deck, or sometimes you're like me and you get a little wild and you play 2 of the same card in the same deck, but you just hope to draw it before you play a card like this. And then from here, you're able to create your own spell or potion, which is really, really cool. You pick the drop you want, 1, 5, or 10, and then from there you have 2 abilities to pick from, and they're randomized. And this guy really made Reno decks, not that they weren't already good. Reno decks were probably still really great after this expansion being released, with a lot of the great one-ofs they put in there, but this guy just put it right over the edge and making Reno decks one of the strongest decks available to us currently, whether you're talking about Reno Mage, but more so the Reno Warlock, which is a very, very popular and powerful deck on ladder. This guy in combination with Brand to create yourself 2 potions, and these potions are very powerful, guys. Whether it's the 5 mana one, deal 4 damage to all of your opponent's cards and gain 7 armor, or deal 5 damage to a creature, summon like an 8/8 or something like that. It's just, for the mana cost to what this spell does, is absolutely insane. And then on top of that, the ability to create 2 of them, and then to create them on a situational basis, because every game is different. You're going to want different things for every game depending on your opponent, what class they're playing, the turn it is, and what they've done thus far. Just allows the customization to be able to fit the spell exactly for what you're wanting it to do and wanting to accomplish that game. So this is, again, I would have to give it in the comparison range of Patches and how the amount it's played and the amount of usefulness this card brings out. This card is absolutely insane in a good way. And it's cool stuff. I'm glad they pushed the whole Reno synergy thing going on, because as we know, Reno is rotating out next year. So we're going to need cards like this to kind of back them up and to keep the one-of decks still viable. So let me close out of the big window there, and we'll take a look over. Yep, that was it. That was our top 5. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything, because that'd really suck. So with that said, I hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video, and if you don't agree with me, or you think I've missed out on something, or I actually only counted 4, feel free to call me first a silly goose, and second to fill in either your favorite legendary or one that you thought I might have missed, or if you agreed with me, maybe something I missed on a legendary that we talked about, because guys, I only have X amount of time to kind of go over these cards. I don't want to rant on forever, because a lot of you got to save the time and kind of cut and dry and to the point. So with that said, I hope hopefully you enjoyed the video. I always enjoy making these and sharing my opinions with you, and I hopefully you enjoy watching it. So as always, I'm Warshack, of course, and happy whatever the hell day it is.